background there? Is that like a train or something?
Yeah.
Okay. I've got a train that goes by. I could barely hear it, but I have to like listen for it, and that's a good thing. So, but when I hear it, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot there's a train that's about 2 miles from here. All righty, Jake. Well, you're the host, so I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna try my best not to pretend that we're doing something down here in the man cave, if you know what I mean.
Right on. No problem. All right. First, I I would be using my microphone, but the clamp on my boom arm is got kind of messed up, so I need to figure something out with that. So,
Yeah.
so I'm just using the microphone on my webcam for now.
Hey, that's great. It's funny you mentioned that. It's been a couple weeks now. Technically, Chris and I recorded our first episode for season 2, and we were having the exact same issues clamping that boom arm onto a table. We were I mean, granted, we don't see it in the recording, but we were having the very same issues. So it's kind of a small world situation with that. So
All right. Well, I don't feel so bad then, but it's just
yeah,
annoying.
yeah, I know what you mean. If I could suggest anything, what we did, I I went to, I think it was Lowe's. You know how you get those little cards, those little samples for paint colors?
Oh
You can
yeah.
take them. Well, you could do the same thing, like if you're wanting to put new flooring in, like a laminate, whatever you want to call it, and they usually give you something about that thick. So I actually use that on mine here. I've got a little sample of wood flooring that wedges between my desk and that clamp because ironically, underneath my desk here, there's a bar. It's a cheap desk. And it wasn't probably yours is probably do the same thing. It wasn't really, grabbing it tight from the table.
Yeah.
Same thing here. So I basically used it as I want to say like a wedge. They'll do that with door frames. You know what? I'm sure this isn't what you wanted to talk about, but I understand. I've had to
Um,
improvise.
well, at least I'm getting some expert advice, so that's cool.
I'm always trying to figure out how to put a round peg in a square hole. So it seems like that's how my life is a lot of times.
All right. Well, let's get started with the first question. What's your preferred alcoholic beverage of choice?
Well, I'm glad I brought my partners in crime. If I'm having a beer, I have grown here through recent years. I really like Heineken Light or Heineken Silver. It's just something that works for me now. Years ago, I used to go to darker beers and all that, but for some reason, I just seem to feel, I guess, less filled, and I still enjoy it. I think I don't. I think it might have been Miller Light or something like that years ago that had great. What was it? Great taste, less filling,
Yeah.
something like that. Well, that's what I get with the Heineken. I really enjoy the flavor for it. And myself, that's been battling with a weight issue for the past 5 to 6 years. This has less calories in it than some other like soda drinks that which I haven't had a soda in about a little over 3 weeks now. So, but enough about that.
Go.
And when it comes to whiskey, I really enjoy Irish whiskeys. There's just something about Irish. First, I used to say, well, it's the Irish in me, from my grandmother's side of the family. And I just really enjoy Irish whiskey. And Jameson's been my thing. I know there's so many great ones out there. And when I started doing the whole podcasting thing myself, I stumbled across Jameson Orange, and I just fell in love with it. So this is what I do. I like to have my partners in crime when I'm sitting down, socializing with some great friends like you, Jake, and have a beer in one hand and some Irish whiskey in the other. And then I'll go through the whole entire week without touching a drop of alcohol.
Nothing wrong
That's
with
a good thing. Yeah. So that's my preference. Jake? may I throw that back at you? What is your favorite adult tasty beverage?
Okay. I guess either a Bud Light or for beer, and
Hmm.
or a Corona Extra or Corona Light, and I really like Mike's Harder Lemonade. It's pretty damn good.
Yes, that stuff is dangerously goes down fast. I've noticed. Everything. Every- Coro- Now, Corona, of course, you have a lime in it, right?
Yes, of course.
It's been a while, but yeah, those are very tasty as well. So yes, I would definitely put that in my top 5 of beers, but Heineken's my go-to. But yeah, Bud Light, and let's face it, Mountain Dew are the top selling. In fact, I know this from years ago. Bud Light and Mountain Dew are the top selling beverages in the United States.
Oh wow. Right on.
Yes.
Learn something new every day.
Oh, real quick, before you get to any other questions, I want to thank you, by the way, Jake, for inviting me here onto your YouTube channel. I noticed that you're starting to have more guests on your YouTube channel, and I watched your last one. A gentleman from now, I'll be honest, I've never watched those shows. Big Brother, correct?
Correct.
I'm just I could get into that with you privately, or we could talk about it here. Well, ever since Friends and The Office have kind of went off, I haven't really been into regular television series, and I think I've been trying to avoid the Friends subject here lately.
Yeah.
Not the Friends subject, but the series. I've just been in denial about what's happened. But Big Brother, I know that show's been huge, and you were very fortunate to have one of the cast members come on here, and if anybody's watching Jake and listening to him right now, it's a habit, sorry. I highly recommend that you guys go check out his last interview, especially if you're a fan of Big Brother. And what season was that again from Jake?
Season 21, Scott.
Season 21. And your guest's name once again?
Cliff Hogg.
Cliff Hogg. He seemed like a really nice guy.
Oh, he is.
So thank you once again, Jake. Yes, I'm plugging your stuff, but hey, as a friend, as a guest, I've got to do my best to help you out here, buddy. So thank you. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for being on. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, no problem. This is fun. I love it.
Hell yeah. All right. Question number two.
Sure.
Number two. Ha, no. My 12-year-old sense of humor. No.
Hey, I get it. I'm still a kid. I get it.
Thank you. What are your favorite pizza toppings?
Huh. Well, I guess sometimes it depends on who I'm getting the pizza from, if that makes any sense at all.
Absolutely.
Uh, I I love deluxe pizzas. Now, I don't know if you know what I mean by that. Pretty much everything except for anchovies. I'm not an anchovy person. It's not my thing.
Right
But
on.
I'd say load that up. Jake, you live here in Ohio. Do you get that here in Ohio? Of course, we have our New York styles, we have our Chicago, Detroit. Here in Ohio, I think we get the best of every type of pizza around here. You know, thin, thick, whatever, deep dish. Do you up where you live further north of me? Do you have like thin pizzas? In other words, do you have Marion's pizza?
No.
Okay. It came out of date, and I didn't know how far north it's gone, so but do you have, like, the thin pizzas up here?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a place nearby here, they're local, it's actually called Christie's, and they do the thin, like Casanos. Do you have Casanos up there?
No.
Okay, that's another local, sorry. I just love their deluxe pizzas where they put, like, the pepperoni, the mushrooms, the onions, the green peppers, the sausage, the ham.
Mm.
I love deluxe pizzas, but every once in a while I enjoy a Hawaiian pizza. Where I guess that it has more of a pineapple and ham, right?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, deluxe I would say is my favorite.
Right on. Great choice.
What's your favorite type of pizza? And toppings, I should say.
Oh man.
Man, it's hard. Pizza's so yummy.
uh, I I love mushrooms and sausage for sure, and pepperoni.
I had a pizza last night, and I said I wasn't gonna have pizza for a while, but and it had mushrooms, and it was a deluxe. It was a frozen pizza though.
Pizza's pizza, man.
Yeah, pizza, pizza. And I know our good friend Mr. C. Webb, him and his wife and the kids, they love pizza too. So there you go. You're here with us in spirit, Mr. or the Webb family. Oop, let me turn
Oh yeah.
something off here real quick. It'll annoy me. My mails, it does a charm on my computer, so I wanted to turn that off. There we go. All right.
All right. Question number 3. What made you want to be a content creator?
Oh, that's a good question. It started when I was really young, thanks to camcorders. Back when I was younger, the camcorders were pretty common. It was it almost felt like a box you're putting on your shoulders. Or if you think to, like, say, Back to the Future, 1985,
Okay.
where Marty McFly, it wasn't that big, but that size of a camcorder was pretty popular, especially when we transited from from what the public could have, VHS, to like a Super 8 or High 8. It was those that really got me intrigued because I loved recording videos. I mean, anything from recording, and it was clean. I want to make this very clear. I would have a fascination by doing goofy things with the camera while flushing the toilet and then add it into something that was completely unrelated, which is common with today's, social media. But it was that. And I just kept on connecting more and more with finding ways how to make movies with it. And then by the time I was in my early 20s, before my son was even existing in this world, I got to know somebody through a friend who went to school that was not really associated, but he had landed a job here locally that was more for like they did third party. It was more like public access, I guess you could say. I don't know if we have public access this day and age, but we did a lot of mobiles, which is commonly known, heard for DJs or um, wedding photographers or videographers for weddings. They do mobiles at them. I guess that's what they still call them. But I got into that through, I was like a gopher guy in the beginning. I went around running errands, even if it was getting their lunch, or I was responsible taking out all the equipment to the van when we'd had to go to places where we would record videos for like C-SPAN, boring stuff like that, and other um, I lost my train of thoughts. Other like third party accesses like that, and we did a lot of. I was cameraman number 4 for a couple of years for our local college basketball team, the UD Flyers, which is pretty big here for the Dayton area. And in other words, I was up in the rafters where they didn't really use the camera angle for me that much. But that's how I got started. And I was in love with it. And I wanted so desperately to be an editor. And I learned a lot from the guys that were editors and my own gut instinct. Jake, you know, when you're passionate about something, yes, you always want to learn. You're starving to learn more about what you're passionate about, but you're going to be brilliant at it because you have a love for it. And that's what pretty much got me. I mean, I can remember editing videos on computers where we couldn't even get the frame rate what we have today. It was all choppy, but I still loved it. And that's how I got started. And in other words, I was making videos before YouTube even existed. So, yep, I still can't stop it. Sometimes I wish I would find something else, but it always comes back to, well, I'll just make a video of it. And voila, here I am.
Nice. Very nice.
Can I throw that back at you, Jake? Do you have any infatuation when it comes to creating content, or is there anything in your world that kind of revolves around with it that you enjoy?
Well, I love talking about movies and whatnot, and I, I seen I stumbled across your YouTube channel, and I seen how you, I was a fan of yours, and then I seen other people, but like a lot of people. So it just looks like something that people are passionate about, and it looks like fun, and just
Yeah.
looks like something I wanted to try and do.
And I'm happy that you're doing that. You if it's like, if you enjoy the, like, say, the horror, and Jake, when you enjoyed Chris and I a while back, we noticed how you seem to have the answers for certain, that it may be trivia, but you had the answers for it. I'm thinking he would be so good talking about whatever the subject matters. If it's a series, whatever the series may be, even if it's not your favorite series, you seem to grab on to the information of it, and it's like you have a photographic memory about whatever the series may be. And I think, what, you should do something with that instead of, at home sharing with your friends, share it with the world. So I'm hoping, hint, hint, you'll do that more often.
Thank you. Okay. Besides Halloween, can you
Hmm.
name 5 other scary movies which you love just as much or close to?
I want to use, and I'm hoping that every generation does this. You refer back to your childhood, and because Halloween technically originated from my childhood. Yes, 1978. I was 8. I always thought that's probably why I never was good at math, because I was born in 1970 and it was just so easy to figure out my age from there. 1970 to 1980, I was 10. 1990, I was 20. See, it's real simple that way. But, um, explaining my math skills to your question. When I was a kid, the Omen and the Jaws frightened the living hell out of me, especially as someone who has a birthday that he shares the same day with Robert England. Do you know what birthday Robert England, aka Freddy Krueger? Do you know what his birthday is? At least the day, not the year necessarily, but the month and the day.
I
Think
should.
of the Omen. Think of the Omen. Now I'm making you look bad after I said it's a walking encyclopedia. I'll tell you what. I'll make this simple for you. June 6th. I know that's Robert England's birthday because that's my birthday. And when you have the Omen, the 666, as a child, that frightened the hell out of me. And let's face it, that's why I was saying I'm hoping a lot of people, they go back to their childhood, because I think that's one, whatever movies they watched when they were a kid, that's what really scared them the most.
Oh yeah.
Because as you get older, at least for me, movies don't frighten me nearly as much as they used to. I mean, every once in a while, there's something that's pretty good. I mean, I'm not one that's big on the gore. I'm not a big. I like something that makes me think.
Yeah.
Or did I just see something creepy around the corner? I want to be challenged, and I'm not challenged nearly as much as I used to be with it. So, but I'm going to go with the Omen and Jaws from when I was a kid, and of course Halloween. But I won't use Halloween in that. Um, let's see what else frightened me, or what really got. The Exorcist, of course, the original Exorcist from 1973, was it? That really scared the living crap out of me when I was a kid. I begged and begged and begged my mom to allow me to see that. When it eventually, when we had a chance to see, I think on HBO, because
Ooh.
she was one of the people that went to go see it in the theaters, and as a little kid, I had a chance to see it. I want to say it was on HBO, and I was so frightened. I that was the only movie as a child where, whenever they would show Linda Blair, the beautiful performances, the cinematography of that film, and how incredible the makeup effects was for that, it just scared me so much. I slept with my mom for almost a month because of that movie. The images and
Oh,
the sounds, which is, I believe, is so important, that frightened the hell out of me, which leads to The Shining. That was scary as hell.
nice.
And I've got some others in the back of my mind, but I'm just going to go ahead because I went with the Shining, The Exorcist, The Omen, and the Jaws. As I got a little bit older, I just got to give homage to, because of the brilliance of the film. I just keep on saying, go ahead and say Silence of the Lambs. because it was, to me, it was just very, just there was parts of it that was just so brilliantly horrifying in a sense, you
Absolutely.
know. Great, yeah, I could see that. It would have others like in the back of my mind. Yeah, I've Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I always have a love for, but I'm just going with ones off the top of my head.
Right on.
So, can I ask you some frightening movies? You're some fives that's not involved with your favorite franchise. Not your favorite franchise. It doesn't have to be the H word, but your favorite franchise. Unless, of course, that is.
Okay, yeah. I was. This is kind of embarrassing. I was 13 before Jeepers Creepers scared the hell out of me. I couldn't sleep that whole night. So, Jeepers Creepers, Amityville Horror, the first one. That one.
That's a good, yeah. Get out.
Oh my God, yes. Gee, this is.
Just think when you were as a kid. See, that's how easy it is. You said 13. Hell, I was a little boy and a shark. What did they call him? Bruce. Bruce scared me, and it wasn't even real. And you hardly seen him.
True.
Sorry.
Okay. Amityville Horror. Um, Event Horizon scared me pretty bad.
I have vague memories of that. I picture the poster in my head. Huh. Well, it'll come to me later. I know it will. But what was it? If anything, describe what was it that horrified you about it? Maybe it'll come to me then.
The visuals in the movie, they're just creepy. Um, Also, Sam Neill's performance was excellent.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check that out again. Yeah. But it's okay. This is what's great. It's always nice to hear something that's, you're like, I don't know if I've ever heard of that, or
1997, great. Uh, The Blob from 1988. That was just freaky.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah,
And
they did. Go ahead. Sorry.
oh no, no. Uh, and I guess Warlock 2.
Warlock 2. It wasn't Miss Jennifer Gorgeous, the love of my life, Aniston in the first one?
Oh,
Did I?
it was Leprechaun.
Oh, Leprechaun. Okay. Sorry. I guess
No
I
problem.
had to go down a pleasant road there. Sorry. I butchered yours up, but you know what? You can never butcher anything up when it comes to Jennifer Aniston, at least in my book.
No, no, you can't.
Oh well. I guess that was an honorable mention. That wasn't mine.
No, no, no problem, man. We're just having fun, right?
Yeah. And when you mentioned Jeepers Creepers, I
Yeah.
will that part where it just, there's so much about it that makes it feel like this was based on. I'm not saying that. Just I think back to urban legend stories from like when I was a kid, not too far from here. Remember, I'm just being told about two teenagers that were, killed in a car wreck. And there's just, I know that it has no relations to it, but I think of the main characters in that, and when they drive by, where you have the monster throwing the bodies down in the tunnel and how he just watches them as they that scene to me, so simple, I thought was probably the most disturbing scene, because it was something that was real. I mean, it was like, could you imagine putting yourself in one of their shoes, just driving by, seeing something like that, and then that person hops in their mean, evilish looking truck and starts chasing you down?
Oh yeah.
And it's just, yeah, it puts chills up your spine. And the sound of the yeah,
Oh, the horn. Yeah, it was freaky.
yeah. Jeepers Creepers. Oh god, I can remember as a kid, even that song. I didn't like that song when I was a kid. I think I was being teased by it or something.
Oh
Ah,
man.
ah.
All right, here's a fun one. Can you name your top five Van Halen songs?
Oh, it's funny. I know that I'm gonna have to go down this road again, probably more than often, because with future plans and ideas with
Oh, fast.
my podcast with Chris, well, my with my partner in crime. No, 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 don't, because I know I do the top fives, and I have some ideas for season two. And when I'm thinking of, okay, as I'm asking others, like if you are, well, which obviously you'll be with us again in the future. And when I always think, well, top five, how could I do it without Van Halen songs? And then when I've been kind of asked these questions before, what are your favorite Van Halen songs? It is so damn difficult for me, because I feel like I'm shaming other ones that I love. Um, so I'm going to just go ahead and say some ones that I know that I've always kind of went to. Like if I were to listen to a certain CD or an album.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go with let me go at least with start off with, say, number five, with the Sammy Hagar era. Please don't look down on me if I'm saying it wrong. In other words, I'm gonna go with number five, even though it's not really in my number. Summer Nights from 5150.
Ooh.
I absolutely love that song, from memories from concerts, from being at a concert, from watching it from Live Without a Net, just watching Edward and the energy from that song. Just Summer Nights is just something about it. It takes me back to when I was 16 years old. And those summer nights were just, every night was perfect for me, it seemed. And then I'll go to, let's say, another Sammy Hagar era at number four. Oh, dear Lord. I'm going to go with how incredibly amazing it was for your unlawful carnal knowledge. And if we want to abbreviate that, FU, yeah, blank, blank. Um, the very first time that I, with my own ears, had listened to Right Now, to hearing the piano from Edward, to me, it was like another, Beethoven moment, where you're hearing something, composure of music of that piano. Or, okay, let's go back to The Exorcist. What is it? I cannot remember the name of the title of the song with the piano. And I'm butchering this right now. I apologize. But when I'm hearing that performance from Edward and from the whole band itself from Right Now, I knew from that very first minute that song was going to be huge. And it was during its time. It was the music, and it was the lyrics, and it was played so much throughout arenas and even through commercials. And it's the kind of song that made my body cry, not just my eyes, my ducts, my tears, but it just made my body just go shiver. And seeing it in a live performance, I was like a grown man crying listening to that song, and I just, God, you'd think that was my number one. But so yeah, there's my four and five. I'm gonna put a number three to give respect to the time that oh dear Lord, I can't think of the name of the song right now. You know what? I'll save it for another time, because I forgot. I don't want to, I just can't think of the name of the title of the song. So I'll just go ahead and jump into some David Lee Roth area. Because I'm going to go with Gary Sharon, Van Halen number three. It's actually the second track, but you know what? We could skip that part because I can't think of the name of it. I just love this song. Um, so I'm going to go with, technically that would be my honorable mention for number three, because I can't think of the title, because I don't want to cheat here and use my phone, because that ain't right. So people, you're like, oh, Scott, I thought you knew it all. But I'll be honest, the number three, I don't remember all the titles of the song. So I'm going to go with number three, from the 1984 album. Um, Technically, it was recorded a long time before 1984, but House of Pain. I just love the music in that. The the way it starts off, a lot of Edward, stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, people can normally go with 1984, Panama, Drop Dead Legs, and I'll Wait, but no, House of Pain. I just always, every time it seems like that's the first song I'll listen to if I were to do my own technical shuffle from that CD or put it on that part of the vinyl. And number two, oh, doing a, this is not me jerking off. This is me rolling the dice. Here, I'll do my right hand. That makes more sense. I'm gonna go from a Women and Children First album. God, it's such a. Oh, you know what? There's just something about the song, even though it's one of the big ones. It's so hard for me to do number two right now because I already know what my number one's going to be. I'm going to just go with Light Up the Sky.
Ooh.
From Women, Children First. Yeah. Oh, it sounds amazing, even on the album. And then, oh, God. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and do the easy out because the Van Halen from their first album, there are so many important songs on that where it's hard for me. That were where I had to say, which one is your favorite kid? I can't tell you which one's my favorite kid. Even though that Van Halen or that album is not mine, it was just the first time I fell in love, my first true love. So I'm just going to play it smart here and just say Eruption.
Great tune.
I just have to go with Eruption as that just for me with my, if I'm ever remembered after my time, I'm hoping that people remember that I love my son and I was always passionate and I always stuck by Van Halen since 1978. I was more in love with Van Halen than I was with the Halloween franchise. So,
right on.
I mean, I got a Van Halen tattoo. I don't have a Halloween tattoo. So, yeah.
That is awesome.
So, yeah. Technically, I have a Cabo Wabo, which also represents Van Halen. So that's my Van Halen trying to not disrespect the others, but ones that I think I'll listen to first off of each album. Oh, that was tough, Jake.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Jake, what is your ultimate favorite band? You're the one band that you probably have gone to more than any others.
Jeez, that's a hard question. I like a lot of different bands for different reasons.
Yeah. All right. Just name one off the top of your head real quick. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Okay. Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're awesome.
Okay, great. I was gonna say Backstreet Boys. It was nice talking to you. Backstreet for life. No. Okay, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Without a doubt, an extremely talented band. I'm so glad that they seem to be holding the reins with like Metallica and Wolfgang. I'm sorry. I should be more careful about that. As I say, of course, Mammoth WVH with, you know what? Doesn't matter. Your top 5 of the amazing band, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Yep. Just think of some songs that you would put in, like say you want to listen to right away.
Well, Higher Ground for one. That's like an awesome song. So, Under the Bridge is another one. Soul to Squeeze or something like that. I know there's others. I just
can you think of some of the latest stuff? Like in the past? Because they've got so many great songs, even from the okay. What are your feelings about John? I cannot ever think of his last name. The guitarist. I can never think of his last name until somebody says it, and I'm like, of course, duh. Um, but he's been with the band in and out like 3 times, and he's what are your thoughts of him being with the band as of right? He has pretty much been their, forte for their lead guitarist, rhythm guitarist. But, what are your thoughts on him?
Hmm. At this point in time, I don't have too many thoughts. I'm glad he's with the band still.
Yeah. It's kind of a lot of pressure as if you're like their manager and all that. I find him to be I don't wanna say he's an underrated as a musician, but as a musician, I think he is underrated. But then again, when people really stop and look at the Red Hot Chili Peppers, they are just amazingly talented. Of course, we all know Flea is probably one of the most mainstream bassists you know, funk, rock and roll, alternative, whatever you want to call it. Um, it's just watching. It's just yeah, good choice with Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're always. I always feel like I always forget them to put them in my top 5 of bands, but I'm like, oh shit, I should have put them there because I love their songs and I just love watching them play. They're damn good.
Oh yeah.
So see, good choice. That's because I love them, but good choice.
Also, the Zephyr song is really good, and of course the one everybody knows, give it away now. You know that one.
Oh yeah. Something about yeah. That one thing I gotta love about Red Hot Chili Peppers, they their music has matured like most bands as they mature. Like Metallica. They kind of, well, I mean, we can go on and on and on, but they're always fresh. You could go back to the stuff like back in the 90s and you listen to today and you can hear the maturity, but yet it's still well, today I think they're more creative just because of their maturity and their experiences and staying healthy, which I am so thankful for. And but yeah, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I don't really give a shit about, to be honest with you. And we could have that's a subject matter on its own. And if they're not there, who gives a shit? Honestly, I don't know if they are, if they're not. But to me, to sum it up, if I cared, they deserve to be there. If I didn't care, who cares? They're still amazing and they're still kicking ass. Like I said, the rock, that's a
Another subject for another time.
yeah. Yeah.
Right on. Let's see. Are you excited for any new movies coming out?
Um well, that's an interesting in question because as we all know, there was the writers and the actors, strike. I guess it was a separate thing. I didn't really pay attention to it too much because of, I'm not either one. I'm not with the, I guess it was the writers that finished. And then here recently, the actors. So there's going to be a lot of delaying on films
Oh, yeah.
that, some may not even make it from what I've heard.
Damn.
Simply because of the time span. In other words, maybe there wasn't much money that was, let's say, Jake, you and I were making a film and we weren't that popular in the mainstream, but, we do have credible work. But because of, I hate to say this, I cannot, it may not happen in our time, but if it does, that'll be great because at least we'll have a chance to experience it. But I'm hoping for younger generations, they're not always going to have to relate back to the whole 2020 year, the C word.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if there's any advice that I'd get to you now during the recording, try to avoid saying that word, even though I've been guilty of saying it, because on YouTube, they frown upon you using the actual word, believe it or not. So I think everybody knows what we mean 2020, the C word. The rules are ridiculous. So much for freedom of speech, right?
I,
But anyways, Jake, as I was saying, let's say you and I were making a film. No one may put up the money for it because of there's going to be a delay in films because of that. In fact, I heard recently even Walt Disney is kind of putting things on hold because of this. And let's just, if there were any films that were to be created, I really hope, and this is all extremely hypothetical. I would love to see Johnny Depp be back on the big screen again, whether it's, Jack Sparrow or something, because I've always been a big fan of Johnny Depp, and I would love to see him back on the big screen. Maybe not doing so much Walt Disney stuff, even though I did say Jack Sparrow, but something more like he did back in the day. A little bit more, not cartoonish, you know? Even though Edward Scissorhands a great movie and all that. I would love to see Johnny Depp back. And I know that's a hypothetical to your question,
no problem.
but I would love to see that. I know here recently, as we're sitting right now during a recording, I guess it was this weekend. There was a Marvel movie that was just released with the Marvels or whatever. I have no idea if that's supposed to be any good or not. I hope that it is, even though I feel like the Marvel, what was it called? The MCU or whatever.
Marvel Cinematic Universe, something like that.
Yes. Thank you. See, the walking encyclopedia, folks. Like they're sitting over here. I feel like we're not having the same magic that we had back when the first 20 years. But when it comes to that's me, and I've heard others kind of feeling the same. So if there's any chance that if they're getting some magic, I hope this last film with the Marvels, I don't know exactly what it's called. I hope it's decent, because I'm always cheering them on. When it comes to the horror franchise or genre, I don't know if there's anything that's supposed to. I mean, yes, we've all been talking about the whole Halloween
Yeah.
with Miramax being more involved now than ever. I was listening to a podcaster recently that made me have second thoughts about about a TV series, the streaming thing, because that's what we do now, right? Jake, I think, yeah, you were a guest on our special guest on our when we were talking about that, about the Halloween and the series and all that. But like I was saying, I got a different perspective on that, and I think, Jake, let me ask you this, and maybe we'll get back to what you were asking me. Do you feel that through, let's say, the Halloween franchise, do you feel that it's throughout 13 films? Do you kind of feel like some of them have been rushed at all? Like
Um,
maybe, like they've just been certain movies have gone flat. Maybe they started great in the beginning and then all of a sudden towards midway to the end, it just got kind of rushed.
yeah, definitely.
Well, as I was like, I said, this is a podcaster and they kind of, I guess, drew an image, an idea. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of welcome a streaming, yeah, like an 8-part episode because at least they could stretch it out. Whatever the story may be, if it does welcome back a Myers, a Michael Myers into it, which I think we all as Halloween fans, they have to. Or I've also heard there's been ideas of like revisiting Halloween 3. And I think a lot of Halloween fans would like that. But there you go. I think fans are waiting for that. And the beauty of it is if they do a series with Halloween 3 is streaming like 8 episodes or 10, not only would they have to have some great writing for it and stick to it, don't change your mind. In other words, as long as Weinstein brothers aren't involved with it, then I think they won't be rudely interrupted every, 4 or 5 hours. But because there are some great ones out there that I loved. I mean, The Mandalorian was a great one. I got hooked on, even though it's not horror related. The Ted Lasso series that was on Apple Plus, absolutely loved that. They did it so perfectly well. They had a beginning, a middle, and what really seems like an end. You don't want it to end, but it's going to have to eventually, right?
Right.
And I've been watching another series that's been really great called The Morning Show with Jennifer Aniston on Apple Plus. It's one of these I love that. So I start thinking, because it's so well written and it's so well performed and it keeps you wanting to come. Oh, you can't wait till the next episode. That's what I'm kind of thinking. Maybe that's what would be good for the Halloween franchise, since this is a possibility what we're getting into. I mean, they've been having some luck with the Chucky series, from what I understand.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, let's face it, The Walking Dead was doing that for the longest time. And I know the list, they're starting to do more and more. Hell, we're still waiting to hear something from this franchise. Well, actually, what was it? Camp Crystal Lake.
Yes.
I mean, we've been dick teased about that long. I'm sorry. We've been teased about that long enough.
All good.
So that's, I guess, in a sense, it does answer your questions. I'm looking forward to something that I wasn't crazy about, but I guess I would love to see. And, I don't want to keep on with the hypotheticals, but that I'm looking forward to. And I can honestly say I'm not looking forward to the second and the third of this Exorcist trilogy,
Right.
if they even bother doing it, because from what I understand, that's not done well in the theaters. I'm surprised they haven't put it on a streaming service yet. So, oh well. So I hope that answered your question. It kind of went to a serious thing, but we don't know for sure if that's going to happen yet.
That was perfect. Well, there are two movies that I've heard about. One Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving or something like that by Eli Roth, which sounds awesome. And then it's A Wonderful Knife, which also sounds good too. It's like a Christmas horror movie or something. So
I do apologize. I forgot to follow up. What are the ones you're looking forward to? Thank you for my bad. Yeah, I'm glad you answered that, because I got lazy there. I forgot about that. I'll be honest. I forgot about that Thanksgiving, because I seen that movie poster here recently at the local theaters.
Oh man.
And I know Chris and I will share that when we get back to our season 2. Um, I'll wait till then. But yeah, seen that and Napoleon. I forgot. As soon as you said that, it dawned on me. Napoleon, which that, and there's also a Leonardo DiCaprio that's out right now in the theaters. I forget the name of that movie, but the trailer looks really good.
Something about the killers on the flower moon or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I'm a huge fan of Leonardo DiCaprio, so I know that I'd like to see that. So but I want to see the trailer. Like, wow, that looks good.
Right on. Well, okay, since you're a huge fan of Leo, what do you think about Titanic?
You know, every time I sit down to watch that at least once a month, I always hope that the ending will change, but it never does. And then, of course, now this day and age, even though, well, since Mr. Webb's not here, my heart will go on somehow. My heart will go on with Celine Dion. And since we're all being honest, and Mr. Webb is busy right now trying to paint, or God knows what he's doing with the new house, what are your true thoughts on the Titanic, the film?
I personally love it. I have the poster hanging up in my kitchen. I can't wait to buy the 4K. Yeah, it hooked me from when I was a kid. So yeah.
It was a good movie. It really was. I mean, I know we're sadly for me, I have that damn Celine Dion. It's just, oh God. But it was a good film. It was a good film.
Right.
That got me thinking, obviously, with James Cameron. Am I
Yeah.
saying that right?
Yeah.
Of course, as we all know, he directed that. For me, it's like, stick to Terminator. But how many Terminators can you do, right?
Right.
And of course, Avatar. I mean, am I gonna be okay? I mentioned my age waits too much, but in all reality, the way these avatars come out, by the time there's a third one, I might be wearing diapers again, Jake. It's sad but true. If I'm fortunate enough to be around that long to still, to be yeah. So I guess I'm looking forward to seeing Avatar 3. The dust survives.
Right on. Okay, let's see. Do you have a favorite brand of coffee, and how do you take your coffee?
Oh yeah. I'm a Dunkin'. I'm a Dunkin' Donuts guy. I love my Dunkin'. In fact, I'm all excited because less than a mile away from me, even though the traffic is a bear, they're building so much in this little area. And I live in a town called Huber Heights. And if you are watching this video from Chris right now with his special guests, if you live in Heber Heights in the year of 2023, you know exactly what I'm talking about on State Route 202, otherwise known as Old Troy Pike. It is a headache, but they are building a Dunkin' Donuts right there. And like I said, it's less than a mile. We'll say a mile away. And I'm just like, you know what? It may be worth it because I could go there to get my coffee if it's not here already. And I actually do get whole beans from Dunkin' Donuts and I grind it myself. I don't cheap. Life is too short to drink cheap beer, as they say. And as far as I'm concerned, life is too short to drink nasty coffee. So you stick to your brand. And like I said, whole beans. I use a grinder. I even use distilled water for my bun coffee maker. I don't use tap water. I don't use anything else. And how I take it, I am actually trying to go more black. But for so many years, I've always add creamer to my coffee.
Okay.
So that's pretty much me. In fact, I'm so lazy. In other words, to avoid watching. I watch my dishes. I don't just wash them. I watch them. I actually I have a habit. I'll put the creamer in my coffee mug first, and then I pour my coffee into the way I don't have to stir it up. That way I don't have to wash a spoon later. I don't know. It's always made sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there you go. That's my favorite coffee. And it's just old school hot coffee. Today I have to go when I go to Dunkin' Donuts, I have to make sure that I say hot coffee
Oh yeah.
because I know there's so many cold coffees out there and billions of people around the world love it. That's fine, but I'm an old fashioned fart. I like my coffee hot, like I like my women.
No problem.
So, Mr. Patton, do you have a preference on a coffee beverage yourself?
Yes, I love Folgers Black Silk. It is delicious and with some creamer. Currently, while it's available, sugar-free peppermint mocha is the shit.
Oh, because of the holidays.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you gotta. It's funny. I'm not a pumpkin, because I know usually fall they do the pumpkin lattes and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's not for me. Not for me, but I know a lot of people love that stuff. Do you ever do the Starbucks? It's so funny because the Dunkin' that they're putting is right next door to a Starbucks.
I do on occasion. It just,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah, they always say the price, and I get it. I do. And I don't shame Starbucks. I don't. I know a lot of people love Starbucks, but if I do get a Starbucks, I will get this. It's like a treat. It's a white chocolate mocha. I don't know what it is about it, but it's just like, oh yeah, I really do. I really, really like this white chocolate mocha. When knowing my luck, if I go into Starbucks, and the sad thing of it is, there's a grocery store called around here. Do you have a Kroger's in your neighborhood
oh
or
yeah,
nearby?
oh yeah.
Okay, there's a Kroger real close to where I live, right? And they have a Starbucks in there, which I think is a common thing. There's a Starbucks in there, and then right across the street, because their address is in Old Troy Pike, State Route 202, real close to I-70. Right across the street is Starbucks. So you got a Starbucks in the Kroger's, the Starbucks there, which is next door to the new Dunkin' Donuts, which they're putting a Popeyes, which we have now a Sheets, which I absolutely love. Cheats is a real popular thing in the East Coast, like New Jersey, Pennsylvania, going on and on. They had tons of them in Columbus. Now they've got one here. And but anyways, there's a Target nearby and there's a Starbucks there. So there's like Starbucks. You'd think we were living in Seattle around here with Starbucks. So Heber Heights loves their Starbucks and their chicken. Yeah, we got a lot of chicken places around here.
How about KFC?
KFC, I haven't had that in a long time, but I can remember there was something about the there was something about the mashed potatoes that I always loved.
Mm.
Yeah. In fact, I remember the last time I used do they still have like the pot pies there?
Yes, I believe so.
I remember I really liked that. But we do have a KFC, but it's not conveniently physically close. Like we've got do you have Cane's chicken by you? It's
I I
it
I think that's closer to Columbus. I think.
yeah, it's pretty good. We've got that here. Of course, B Dubs. In other words, Buffalo Wild Wings. We call it B Dubs around here.
Oh yeah.
We got that. They're right next to each other. A place called Roosters. That's pretty good. Frickers, we got that. We've got Chick-fil-A. An old friend of mine, first time he ever seen that. He was up north, not far from you. He's never seen Chick-fil-A at the time. And he moved to Dayton, further south. Actually, yeah. Anyways, him and I, this is when we first probably most knew each other or met each other. We were both in a truck together. Worked at a company where we installed and deliver appliances. And we were stopping at a convenience or gas station, and he's already back in the truck, because you get gas, you go and get your coffee, for the day. And I come back in and I'm not paying attention to what he says. He's like, Scott, what the hell is Chick-fil-A? Chick-fil-A. And I looked to my left and he was reading the Chick-fil-A sign. I teased him for years about it. I'm like, Jason, that's Chick-fil-A. So every once in a while, if I do, hear from him, I'm like, hey, Jason, you in the mood for Chick-fil-A? If he were to watch this, he'd still be pissed off because he's a very intelligent guy. So we went from coffee to talking about chicken. A really good Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. If you ever get out to California, Hollywood, I highly recommend it. And they've gotten a lot of shout outs. Roscoe's. I think local places have tried it, but it's not the same. Roscoe's, no, it's not. It's so good. Oh, it's the best food to eat after you've been drinking all night with your friends.
See, have you ever seen any of the Hellraiser movies?
It's funny you mentioned that. That's one of the movies I could think back to when I was a early teenager. The original ones did scare the shit out of me. It was very disturbing. Very disturbing. And there was something about that captured my imagination about that I felt uncomfortable wanting to watch it again for a while. I guess sometimes the best way I could describe it when a movie really frightens you, especially when I want to say, at least when I was younger, maybe you weren't, maybe you were kind of falling asleep or I don't know. There's just something about it that caught my numbing eye. Sure, it was, like people have shared like where they've had nightmares where they feel like they can't move. If that makes any sense, like you're having this dream where you feel like you can't move your body or something like that. But there was something about that film that made me feel that way when I was watching it for the first time. I felt like I wanted to like cover my face at certain times, or I wanted to turn my head, but I couldn't. It's like I don't know, I was having like this strange out of body experience when I was watching it for the first time. And I know that sounds really weird, but yeah, there was just something about it. Just I wanted to look away, but I couldn't.
Right.
And that was from the first one. I watched a little bit of the second one, but after that, I didn't really get into it again. I think it's just because I don't know. Maybe it frightened the hell out of me enough when I was that first time of watching it, because it was. I mean, there's just I think about it now, and it's like a hellish nightmare.
Yeah.
So, good question. Have you what are your experiences from watching these, possibly more than one?
I love the first four, and after that, it's like a hit or miss, straight to video and DVD. But the first
Oh,
four,
really?
I think are really good. Even though part four, a lot of people either love it or hate it. But
Oh, really?
yeah,
I guess that's the same way about the Scream, franchise. I honestly, I like the first one was great. The second one, I got kinda like, I just I'm antsy when it comes to a lot of films, when especially with sequels. I really am. I lose a lot of emphasis in a lot of sequels. I want it to be good, but I find myself going, "Sorry."
right on.
That's just how I am. It's hard for me to enjoy a lot of sequels. I want to, but it's just hard for me to do so. Which I'll ask something else that leads to this. Kind of relates to when you were asking some other questions before you go on, because I know you might have been with us during the time. Um, I think the subject of the strangers came up. Or might have been Mr. Joel Powers. So I do apologize, Jake.
Mhm.
From what I understand, they're doing a reboot of that, The Strangers.
Oh, yeah.
I thought as I was seeing, as I was scrolling through, every once in a while, I'll catch up to like social media real quick. I'm guilty. I'm not on there that much. And I thought I'm always seeing these polls. And sure enough, if you're my age, you're whatever you say yes to, hardly anybody agrees to it. And it was like, what you asked that question, what are movies are you looking forward to see in the future? And Scream 7 was one of them. And then it said The Strangers. So I guess they are making a remake, a reboot of The Strangers. And I'm kind of disappointed in that.
It's too soon, I think.
I think a lot of us agree. I know Chris really enjoyed it, and Joel Powers. I know I did. And from what you're saying, from sounds like The Strangers, the first one was it was just great. I mean, yeah, it was inspired by the Manson family, but it was good.
Mhm.
That was probably one of the last great ones. Although I do, oh, I'm a fan of others since then, but especially I want to say the year 2022 and 23 and 21, there were some good horror movies that did come out.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I mean, there were some good ones. Have you seen The Barbarian?
Not yet.
Oh, I recommend that. It's a
Ooh.
little different. It's good. And have you seen Nope?
I want to, but
Oh,
I I'll probably watch it. It's on Prime, so
it's I yes, you got to check. It's good. Out of all of and I'm guilty at this, Jake. You know enough more by now. I think it's something to do with my age. I'm getting to the point where I'm forgetting names, and I hate that. It kind of scares me a little bit. But the gentleman that was responsible for directing, obviously, Nope.
Jordan Peele.
Get sorry.
Sorry, Jordan Peele.
Yes, thank you. Uh, Get Out and Us. He did, and he of course did Nope. I've even said in recent, with over on our podcast, I would love to see him do a Halloween film because it would be totally different. Yeah, because Jordan, I love his style when it comes to horror. And but then again, at the same time, I wouldn't blame him for not doing it because he does more original stuff. So yes, I definitely recommend you check out Nope. For some reason, yeah, like you mentioned, it's on Prime, correct?
Yeah.
There's others that like I want to say Peacock or Max. They were showing like Tubi. I like Tubi a lot, even though it's free. They have ads, but they don't do tons of ads in it. I mean, it's maybe someday will add more ads, and they'll say, well, if you don't want the ads, and you got to pay for it.
Mhm.
But Tubi's actually has a lot of some good movies on there, and during the Halloween month, they were showing so many movies, but Nope wasn't on there, but all the other ones were. I'm like, that's weird. That's such a good one too. It's probably my favorite one out of all of them. So
Ooh,
got to go check it out, Jake.
cool.
Nope.
Nice. Oh, here's a fun one. Who's
Okay.
who's your favorite final girl?
You know, it's funny. I have different ones, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to give her props right now. Granted, I would do an honorable mention first. And even though I don't give props to the franchise, because I mean, I think so. Yes, every see obviously all Halloween fans wanted the last trilogy to be good, and there's from what it sounds like, the popularities of the it seems like a lot of people just wasn't a fan of the trilogy as a whole.
Right.
I was like, okay, I enjoyed 2018 so much more than I did the rest of them. Kills has its moments where it was kind of fun, the kill scenes or whatever, and the introduction of Myers house again and the flashback. I applaud them on that. Thank you for at least giving something to the original fans there. Okay. I applaud that. I don't want to say that I came out of this whole entire thing as a complete waste, and I didn't. But the actress that played Karen,
Oh,
not Karen. I'm sorry. That's obviously Andy. I know is Andy who
management.
plays. Sorry.
Her last name is Matt Matt Matichek or something like that.
Okay. It just goes to show that I pay attention to everything so much in the trilogy, but I really like her as an actress. And I hope that because the trilogy wasn't applauded so heavily through the franchise, I hope that this young lady gets recognized for at least even some of the work from her portfolio from that film, because I thought she was pretty good in this trilogy. I really do.
Same
I
here.
think she did a great job. So I'm going to give honorable mention because she was a survivor girl, obviously, on that. I liked her better. Technically, she had more brains than her grandmother. She didn't drop the damn knife, you know? Now, I always used to be a fan of, but I can't because she's not a survivor girl from Halloween 4. But, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and say from the Halloween franchise, Taylor Scott Compton.
Scott,
And why yes,
sorry.
you don't like her?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
Sorry for interrupting.
no, it's okay. It's sometimes I think it's has nothing to do with you and I. Zoom is so friggin' popular. It gets some people that gets their internet. No, Zoom. It gets so overwhelmed with people using it all the time. And I notice certain, it's like I said, you can have the best internet in the world. It's just it gets used so much around the world. So I think sometimes it catches us a little, off. But anyways, enough about that. In other words, I got some information on that a while ago when I started to well, never mind. But Taylor Scott Compton, the reason why I like her is bravo to her for fucking standing up to the shit that she's gotten throughout the years. They gave her shit simply because she played the part of Laurie Strode. And I think that's a bunch of bullshit. She was actually pretty damn good, and I enjoyed her more as Laurie Strode. And to be honest, I listened to her podcast with Daniel Harris, and I really like her. She has gone through enough to where she was wise enough to clean her act up from her 20s. She cleaned her act up from her own, troubles, her own demons. And now she's a strong-headed woman who's fighting so hard to work as much as she can, and she's trying to get some better roles, and she sticks and she respects the horror franchise. She still gets a lot of this because she's tapped. I was going to say tapped. She's typecasted, as those roles, and she'll take them and she respects them, but she's still trying to get, roles that are a little bit bigger. And she missed Halloween, the big convention this year in Pasadena, the 45-year anniversary. And from what I've witnessed from other YouTubers, she didn't miss shit, really. And I'm not trying to put it down because a lot of it had to do with the writer's strike and stuff like that.
Mm.
And then that, and I think a lot of the actors that we are heroes, I think they're getting burned out, to be honest with you. You just kind of see them looking a little bit tired from the same old questions over and over. And even when you see, when they had the original Halloween up there, even when John Carpenter came in and surprised people, a lot of people that are up on the stage there from they look bored because and I think even us the fans were getting bored with it. But Tyler, she really wanted to go, and she apologized so much as she possibly could. And I wouldn't be surprised if people gave her shit for not, because she had an opportunity to do. She was working out in Thailand, I believe, at the time, because she had an opportunity to play a role she really, really, really wanted. So she could either say, no, I'm not going to do this because I want to go to the convention, or, and I don't blame her. It was a great opportunity for her. So, yeah, I'm going to actually give her as my number one simply because I have gotten to like her as a person over the years. So I guess that's, in a sense, I don't want to say that's cheating, but I think that sometimes if you are going to have your favorite, maybe you should, if you get the opportunity to listen to them as a person, that might kind of influence your decisions on something like this. So, yeah, I'm going to say she's my number one Survivor girl.
All right.
So she's pretty cool.
Yes, she is.
What about you? Do you have a favorite Survivor female?
Oh man, probably Ripley. She's just badass.
Mm.
Although I guess in
That,
part three,
that's awesome. Yeah, that's a good one there. I totally went blank on that. Yeah, she did. She's probably the number. Yeah, she's got to be. I want to say she's the queen when it comes to Survivor. I mean, dear Lord, look what she was competing against.
yeah, get away,
Yeah.
bitch. This had
I
to get
mean,
that out.
yeah, what she's had to overcome. Yeah, so you trumped me there. For all you Trump voters out there, there you go. So that's what we used to say before he existed as a. Yeah, stupid. I haven't watched Alien or Aliens in a while, so that's probably I think it's Sigourney Weaver. Yeah, she was awesome in Alien, or through her parts throughout it. So,
Mm.
you got anything else for me, Jake?
Yes. When you go out to eat, what's your favorite restaurant to go to?
Oh. Now, my comfort food that's more convenient is Skyline Chili.
Mm.
And a lot of people, oh, it's so funny. The country, we'll just say the United States, if you're from out west, from California, they'll go, ew, if they've had it. I've seen Sean Clark shame it. I'm thinking, you know what, Sean Clark, I've had a lot of your food out in LA. But if, well, this day it's all for, never mind. If you're from around here, a lot of us are just like Skyline. It's Skyline time. Now I'm craving Skyline. But there's this one particular place that I loved ever since I was a teenager, I should say. And it was all going down to a Reds game, and then we'd always stop to like a Montgomery Inn. That's my absolute favorite. In fact, this hat is so faded. I've got this old faded Montgomery Inn ball cap I've had for years.
Oh, cool.
And it's out of Cincinnati. In fact, Bob Hope every year would have ribs basically shipped to him out in California because he discovered Montgomery Inn ribs. And yeah, for so many years, he had it. Yep, he had to have ribs shipped out to him. And yeah, their ribs were to die for. And it's not it's Montgomery Inn is not, but then again, what is cheap, especially when it comes to food this day and age, right? But that would always be my number one next to Skyline. And Skyline is just, help. I've got a Skyline that's I always butcher Huber Heights, but yet I've got my favorite coffee and my favorite comfy food right here, Skyline Chili. So those are my favorites.
Oh yeah.
So what are yours? What are yours? Anything hometown for you, Jake?
Old Town Buffet, Chinese buffet is always good, and Big Boy.
Oh,
It's classic.
Frisch's Big Boy. And for you fine folks that are watching Jake right now out there in California, we know it's Big Bob's.
Oh yeah, Bob's Big Boy.
Yep. I've actually been to Burbank, California more than a few times, about a half a dozen times. Well, I don't know how many times my mom moved us when I was a little kid out there for about a little over years. And I know we've had it but yeah, if you being a fan or enjoying, big God, I haven't had a Big Boy in a long time. There's something about them. They're tasty.
Oh yeah.
I got a Frisch is not far from here either. Man, Jake, we're talking about our fate. Now I want Montgomery Inn, I want Skyline, I want Frisch's, and Chinese food. Yes, every once in a while, you got to have it.
Yes.
Damn it. I could always think of a song for Van Halen now, Bottoms Up, but somebody get me a doctor. This is fun, Jake. You're inspiring me to ask more questions like this.
Thank you, Scott. I enjoy doing this. I love talking movies, but I like talking to people too.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun. It really is. So if you've got any more questions, please feel free to fire away. If not, once again, I do want to thank you for having me on here. And I've already said it earlier, and I'll say it again. I hope that you continue doing this. And however you're contacting them, I'm sure it's either through social media or emailing them. Just keep it up, man. Just keep it up. And don't ever feel discouraged. If you feel like you're not getting enough views, hey, we all got to start somewhere. I mean, even with Chris and with our podcast, Meet Us in the Man Cave, we've recorded enough videos, and we don't care that we don't have a lot of views right now because it's fun. And we stay to ourselves. We stay who we are. And if it has some success to it, then great. But you're better off starting off with the people that you know well, your family and your friends. And, hell, ask them to share the love and all that. But you don't want to start off real big because that's just too much pressure. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, yeah, I hope you are having fun and just stay who you are. And then if it grows, it grows. If not, hell, at least you tried, right? And you had fun doing it. So really, it's a win no matter what you do.
Right. I guess I have one more.
Sure.
How do you feel about cheesecake? Because I love cheesecake personally.
Well, we talked about coffee earlier.
Yes.
Okay. We didn't bring up the Golden Girls.
No.
And I loved the Golden Girls. I honestly did. That was a TV series I absolutely loved. And when they sat down and they had their cheesecake with their coffee, I wanted some cheesecake. And so, does that answer your question?
Hell yes.
Probably, yes. I mean, Jake, you've asked some great questions, but you're very cruel. I'm trying to lose weight here.
Oh yeah.
And I'm talking about all the foods that I love and desserts that are obviously a cheesecake. Yes. Now, I don't know if there's different, to me, I think cheesecake. But I'm sure there's certain individuals or certain bakeries or maybe certain restaurants that specializes in their cheesecake. I don't really know of any. I think there was a place called Bill Knapp's that had a specialty in their cheese. I could be so wrong. I know there's a Cheesecake Factory, but the first time I went there, I was expecting it to be nothing but cheesecake, but it's a damn restaurant. Or if you think of the Big Bang Theory, I don't think they ever ate cheesecake at the Cheesecake Factory. But if there is, do you have do you like cheesecake? I should ask. And if so, is there a particular one that just like, oh, it's like heaven?
I love cheesecake, and I can't think of anyone in particular. But
and of course, as soon as you have, let's say, Mrs. Smith's cheesecake, that's just completely made up. and she makes the best cheesecake. And it'll be where you're traveling. Like, say you're going down to Florida and you have Mrs. Smith's cheesecake down there, and you'll never forget it. And subjects will come up like this and be like, "Oh my god, am I ever going to have Mrs. Smith's cheesecake again?" I mean, I'm kind of sharing an Italian restaurant in Florida. I don't remember the name of it, but it was the most ultimate Italian food restaurant I've ever had. I don't, you could almost taste the garlic out in the parking lot. And for me, that's a good thing. So we've tackled the food subject matters. So you said that was one more. Is that I mean, was there anything else, Jake? Or
No, I guess that's about it.
okay, no, that's fine because you've asked a lot of good questions. The questions that make me feel comfortable, which I encourage that until you make a lot of money, then you can ask those questions that's going to make them feel embarrassed later. Like, did you have an affair with a garbage man? But for now, no, these are fun. And I think it's best to always do that. That's something that I'm always going to try to do is, have fun while Chris and I are doing our thing. And whenever we have you, and I already know I know for a fact, I don't want to spoil it. In fact, maybe I shouldn't say it at all. In fact, I just know that there's an individual who I spoke with recently that's looking forward to joining us in the future. Jake, you're always going to be welcome on there, but no, I don't want to say anything else because I don't want to ruin it because we haven't even restarted. I'm actually working on two from technically last year. You're part of it. So when season 2 starts, I'm hoping to have those finished if Chris and I start recording again. So it's kind of nice to get ahead. So
I can say something, but I want to keep it PG. But yeah, of course it is. It's always nice to get a little ahead. I mean,
go ahead. I mean, as I said that with no thought, that ought to tell you where.
great minds think alike.
Yeah. It's so funny because the last video oh man, there's a lot of I hope it's just good karma coming my way. You know what? Never mind. Well, Jake, I have a feeling we're going to be ending this here. I do wish you the best of luck. I hope you know you have like I said, just continue having fun, and however you're contacting your guest, just keep on doing what you're doing because I know they say you just I don't know, maybe the best way is to reach out to them through social media. I think that's probably the best way to do it this day and age. But if you have a way of doing it, you know what I'd say right now, keep it to yourself. You don't want to give away your secrets.
No.
And I'll be looking forward to seeing some of your future, episodes with guests or whatnot. And like I said, if you have any question, this was privately, if you have any questions, if you need any, you know, help on some ideas on how, because when you even ask me on here, content creating, I've been doing it for a long time, and I'll be more than happy to help you out on hey, how do you do this or how do you do that? What you're doing now is perfect. Don't just stick to you. Don't worry about what others are doing. But if you need any advice on how to edit and stuff like that, when you're ready to start getting more involved with that, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to do whatever I can, to tell you, hey, this is some places that I've done, how I've done this. But how you do your content, just stick with it. Don't, I'm not going to tell you how to. In other words, I can't tell you how to walk in your own shoes, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does.
So Chris, thanks again for letting me be on here, man. I appreciate it. And Chris and I will contact you. And the funny thing of it is, we'll either have some time in December because that's hint, hint. That's probably when we'll start recording again. If we don't contact you in December, don't feel bad because right now I don't even know when we are really going to start recording, because it looks like, no, I don't want to. In other words, I can't speak for Chris right now because he's not here. But from what I understand, his man cave, his section of the man cave, the new one, which none of us have seen yet, the gentlemen, the contractors that are working on it, they don't start working on it until this week.
Ooh.
And from what, to sum it up, he's hoping, from what he's being told, it could be December 1st. But there's always delays, there's always hiccups and stuff like that. So yeah, Chris and I may not even be able to start recording until early December. And I'm also thinking of, let's face it, what happens in December, traditionally the holidays, and Chris is a father. And so I know I'm anxious. I'm having withdrawals, and he's mentioned it too, but I'm trying not to bother him because, yeah, he's got a lot on his plate right now. But I know he's looking forward to getting back to where we can all do our thing, and I promise you, I'll have you more prepared the next time you join us, because the last time it was at the last minute.
Oh, yeah.
And because I don't want you or anyone to come on there to feel like, okay, well, what the hell am I doing here? Am I just hanging out or what? So, and if you want to cut all this part out, I don't blame you, because this is kind of me rambling on.
No, well, I probably could just keep it in. It's, I don't know.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, and I will definitely, down the road when we get going, I'll do whatever I can, especially when you're on there. We'll plug your YouTube channel as much and put the link in the description box. So,
Right.
And yep, I was about to say something else, but I can't say it because I want to wait until episode 1, because we make an announcement on what we're doing in episode 1 for season 2.
Well,
And
thank you thank you, Scott, for being on, and I was happy to have you on, man.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And tell you what, if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to contact you through my phone when we're done here, and we'll go from there, if that's okay with you.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Thanks again, Jake, and everyone out there who's watching right now. Hit that damn subscribe button on Jake's YouTube channel. Jake, what is it? It's Jake the Movie Geek. Is that correct? Or is
Close. Jake the horror movie geek. God, it sounds so funny, but beside the point.
it's so funny. Don't feel bad. I used to butcher Meet Us in the Man Cave at the beginning. I did. I butchered it all the time. So Jake the Horror Movie Geek, folks out there, if you liked it, encourage him to create more. Share what he's doing here with other friends and family, and tell him to subscribe, because I'm telling you, he's getting more confident. I could tell already. He's gonna have more amazing guests. I'm a friend, but imagine all these celebrities that he knows that he's gonna have in the future. So there you go. More entertainment coming your way. I did what I could, Jake. If they're not listening to me, then they're fools.
Peace out for now.
Word to your mother.
And yes, and